I'm Tom Spoors, and my favourite film of the year is Hotel Transylvania 4 Transylvania.
I'm Aaron Murray, and my favourite film is The Bubble.
The Bubble.
Bubble Hive.
And we are here today to talk about 2022 so far.
It's been a good year.
It's been a good year.
A decent year.
I feel like the first half, because I always feel like in a year, just generally in time,
in all years.
the first half is weak.
Yeah.
And then
it's usually very slow.
Yeah. And then the second half, that's where the bangers are.
Yeah.
I feel like this year is going to be the opposite way round.
Possibly.
Maybe that's the pessimist in me.
I mean,
who's gone too much good shit's come out already.
Looking at the lineup.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like June has some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
July has some superhero blockbuster stuff like that.
Get in there.
But then August is dead.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Nothing in August.
But
for now.
Cause I can't even think of I genuinely, when we watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, I left that film going, what the hell am I supposed to be excited about now? And because weirdly enough, 2022 has produced two of my favourite films of probably what will be the decade. Because weirdly enough, 2022 is catered exactly to my tastes.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me at the beginning of this year, what are your dream films? I would have said a 2-hour-long action epic about mythology. That's kind of Dune-esque in its cinematography. And then a wacky multiverse-themed surrealist comedy film.
And Morbius.
And then Morbius. And we got, weirdly enough, all three of them.
We got all three, especially Morbius.
And absolutely, I feel like nothing in the second half is going to top the stuff that's been in the first half.
There is some stuff in the second half I'm interested in.
Scorsese's got something coming out, I guess.
Yeah, Martin McDonagh has something.
Yes. Okay, actually, wait, I just thought of something. James Gray's got a film coming out.
He does have a film coming out. I like James Gray.
James Gray.
Yeah,
genuinely,
he's cool.
This is my take. James Gray is potentially the best director the best American director working today.
There's also...
That's potentially my take.
I like James Gray. He's
love
a good
James
director.
Gray. Ad Astra.
There's also, very soon, Dashcam.
What is Dashcam?
Dashcam's from the guy who done Host.
Okay.
Yeah, he
is
has
it
a new one.
On speed cameras?
It's I don't know. The way it's been described is it's like Evil Dead meets Blair Witch. Apparently it's fucking insane.
That's cool.
And it's a lot of people despise it.
I like that.
And I said it's fucking dreadful, but I
love dreadful.
I have the worst taste.
Exactly.
So it's yes.
Speaking of having the worst taste, one of my favourite films of the year so far was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in the 2022 one that everyone absolutely hated.
I'm still convinced you're lying to me when you say that you like that film.
I love that film.
Are you lying to me to get me to watch it? And I'll be like, fuck's sake, Tom, you just made me watch this film. That's fucking shite.
Okay, so genuinely, I think that film. I think everyone. Okay, the thing is, my love for that film could almost certainly be wrong. And I mean,
it probably is.
Because I love that film on the basis that film was a parody.
Is it a parody?
I think it... No, but the thing is I watched that film and I was like, this is too stupid to be real. This is too stupid. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 contains a scene where Leatherface, who is treated as a joke the entire film, which I love. Because the thing is, they couldn't just make Texas Chainsaw Massacre again. Halloween, the 2018 one, kind of just made Halloween again, but differently. And I love that. I thought that was really good. But this film, I thought they couldn't just make Texas Chainsaw Massacre again, so they didn't. This film has a scene where Leatherface walks onto a bus, and someone takes a photo of him and says, "Dude, I'm gonna cancel you on Twitter right now."
I would love to cancel Leatherface on Twitter.
That is cinema. That is cinema. And if anyone argues with me, they're wrong. And it also, at the very end, they do just this random ending where he chainsaws someone's head off, swings it around while the camera wildly cuts from different angles of him just swinging this head around as Elsie Fisher's on a bus screaming. And there's just a point where Elsie Fisher just turns to the camera and starts explaining a sad backstory. And that is cinema.
I mean, it's what... I mean, look, if you were watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022,
Yeah.
and you were expecting it to be like a good film,
Exactly.
you're a fucking idiot.
Well, no, exactly. This
That hasn't
is the
been
thing.
a good Texas Chainsaw film in like 40 years.
Well, this is the thing, though. I don't get how people are taking this film seriously because it's so stupid. It's a different level of stupid. It is. There are some kids buying a town for some reason. It is a different level of stupid. But and maybe this is just the naivety and optimism in me, I believe that film was made as a joke. Is a parody, is maybe a bet. And so I believe that this film is a secret masterpiece.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, and this film was made to be a horror like a big horror blockbuster or whatever, then I'm wrong. But I will die on the hill that Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 is a parody and one of the best parodies to come out in recent memory.
Okay, well, I will watch it eventually. I will.
That's the spirit.
I will watch it.
I genuinely think people are just taking it too seriously.
You know what? I might make it the first Texas Chainsaw film I watch.
No.
I'll do that. It'll be my first. I'll make it my first. That's what I'm gonna do.
It's a great film though. I love it. What's a film you've liked, Aaron?
A film I have liked. JK, I didn't. I fucking hate this one.
Okay, that's a good start.
Uncharted.
Oh yeah, that's a film.
So on my list, Morbius is the very last film.
What the hell?
We've already talked about Morbius.
It's a different plane.
So
it's not really a film.
Second to last is Morbius is Uncharted.
Okay.
2 Sony films next to each other. No weird things I've seen this year.
They're doing great.
I love Sony. I love Sony. So I really love the Uncharted games.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Who doesn't?
The fun.
Yeah,
the fun.
good time.
Exciting.
I want to play them.
I was not excited for Uncharted.
Why not? It has everyone's favorite actor, Tom Holland, who was in films.
He was in Doolittle.
Oh God, he was.
He was a dog.
Tom Holland.
In like 3 scenes.
He needs to fire his agent. Whoever his agent is, he needs a new one. I'll be his agent.
Then again, his agent probably got on Chaos Walking. And spies in disguise.
Genuine true story about Chaos Walking. I have no idea how good Chaos Walking is because
it's great.
I turned it on, got really annoyed by the first 10 minutes because I promise you, Chaos Walking is the most irritating film I've ever seen. It just irritated me so fundamentally in the first 10 minutes.
What was so bad in that 10 minutes?
Because it's like man's thoughts are like just be like, so their thoughts are just like voiced or whatever, but it's so irritatingly done. I just got really annoyed and I was like, no, I can't do this, and I just turned it off. I think I rated it 0.5 star on Letterboxd.
Well, Uncharted's probably not that bad.
Yeah.
But it's pretty fucking dreadful.
Okay.
It is. Okay, Tom Holland tries his best.
We love a trier.
He tries his best.
Yeah.
But the problem with the film is, okay, I'd argue that he's not the main issue with the film.
Okay.
He shouldn't have been in it.
Yeah.
He's not. I don't see Nathan Drake in him.
Yeah.
And I do think Sony had a different idea with this film. There's like a montage of him like working out. And it's like his clothes are off, and it's a muscular Tom Holland lifting weights and like doing like push-ups and all that. And it's like, okay, I obviously know what they're trying to do. They're trying to cater to the teenage girl.
Yeah.
Who's like,
yeah.
I love Tom Holland. And it's like, so that's what they're trying to do.
It's like a Tom Holland biopic. this was just like a day of his life.
It's just called Holland, like Joker.
It wasn't even a film. Like this is just a documentary of Tom Holland getting off the Tom Holland things.
The worst part of Uncharted, besides just the fact it's just fucking boring, it's probably Mark Wahlberg.
Really?
Mark Wahlberg's fucking awful in this film. Father Stu himself is awful. It's just it's one of those films where like all of like Uncharted. I know what people say. Oh, it would work as a film, but then it's so cinematic.
Yeah.
The problem is that Uncharted is basically just Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And like what helps make Uncharted different is the fact that it's a game. You interact with it. There's no point to make that into a film. There's no reason, especially.
Did anyway.
And he did it anyway, and I don't I don't know, cause like the plot is so boring.
Yeah.
They've got the worst like throat slit I've ever seen in a film.
Nice.
Where the villain or one of the villains, I don't care that I'm spoiling this film. If anyone gets offended that I'm offended, if you get really offended and I'm like spoiling Uncharted, Get better taste, I don't know.
Wow.
One of the
Okay.
villains dies by getting like the throat slit.
Yeah.
And you see like the thing, and you see like the throat, like the knife go into the throat and all that. It happens. No blood.
Perfect.
Nothing. Just absolutely nothing. Then he just falls to the ground. There's a part where
Oh my god.
where Mark Wahlberg walks into a Papa John's, and then he goes like, "Nate, like, where are you? I'm literally in a Papa John's right now." It's
Oh
astounding.
my god.
It's astounding that a lot of people liked it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a similar problem with the Sonic film, where people's expectations for these video game films are so fucking low
Yeah.
that like they will take a boring milquetoast
Yeah.
fucking like film like that, which is so just dull. The effects are terrible in it.
Yeah.
Like,
Speaking of Sonic.
oh god.
So I watched Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
You did.
Yeah, I did. I watched
didn't.
it. I thought Sonic the Hedgehog 1 I thought was just bad. I didn't like Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
It was, yeah.
For what it's worth, I think Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has more video game in it.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, though, I feel bad talking about this film because I've never, genuinely, I feel like I've never watched a film before and so actively gone, wow, I am not the target audience for this. This is a film for toddlers.
Little baby.
Literally. Like, I was watching this film and go, I just want to strangle Sonic. I just want to drop kick that little rat. I swear to God. He is the most irritating little chaos walking little brat. I can't stand him.
Oh my god.
With that being said, Idris Elba has a very sexy voice. And Jim Carrey, Jim Carrey,
Does he steal a show like he did in the first one?
he flosses.
Fuck, I need to see this film now. Jesus Christ. God.
And I think Sonic the Hedgehog's more interesting than it is. Like, I was interested to see Sonic the Hedgehog 2 because of one, who's in it, Sonic, the little shit, Tails and Knuckles.
Yeah.
And then the post-credit scene, spoilers, sets up Shadow.
I cannot wait for that.
Which, to be fair, I honest to God watched it for the post-credit scene.
If they do not give Shadow a fucking gun in the next one, I'm going to be so mad.
The Shadow scene, like, the thing, and this is the thing with Sonic, is the visual effects are genuinely good.
Yeah,
Sonic,
it's fine.
Tails, Knuckles, and Shadow all look really good.
I still wish the old design was used for Sonic, but that's besides the point.
It's in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Yes, I saw that.
I'm
I
watching
saw
that.
that.
Oh my god, the film's out today. The day we're recording this, the film comes out on Disney Plus. I'm
Oh
watching
shit,
it.
it is out, isn't it?
Watching it. I'm genuinely
It's
gonna
all
watch
right,
it.
to see it.
It's got ugly Sonic in it. But yeah. So Shadow, they all look good. I'm very interested to see where this goes
I mean,
because the Mario movie was delayed next year, but it's coming out. I'm intrigued to see how that does because I feel like
I think he'll do well.
genuinely I think that the film industry is looking for their next cinematic universe.
They are, and I do think video games are kind of where they're looking.
I think
now.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2, for right now for me it seems like Sonic the Hedgehog is setting up this idea of video game characters in our world.
Well, yeah, because they've also, I know with the Sonic things as well, they've already announced like a spin-off.
Yeah,
for
there's a Knuckles
and
TV
stuff,
show.
yeah.
So they're obviously building something. And to be fair, don't get me wrong, I hate both these films. I think they're annoying and they just... I feel like a 40-year-old man watching them because I'm like, this is not for me. But you know what? They obviously have their fans.
Yes.
And I would not mind these being the next cinematic universe. Because I think there is probably more potential in video games than there are in comics, possibly.
I don't think we're going to see any of them.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Metroid film. I would love to see, like...
Ooh, yeah.
I genuinely, honestly, my pitch. A Metroid film with basically no dialogue, where it's just like a Metroid horror film, would be sick. Like a...
That would be cool. Brie Larson would be a good Samus as well.
Yeah.
She would be a perfect Samus.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, garbage. I want to kick that little rat. And I can't, like, I thought the film was dreadful. But it made me very... So I guess I'll give it credit. The post-credit scene worked. I want to see Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And I'm genuinely kind of excited to see where the Sonic the Hedgehog-ness of it all... Because I do think this was that... I think Sonic the Hedgehog 1 was them going, do people care?
Yeah.
And people cared. And I think Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was there, do people care if we try to, like, marvel this shit up? And they cared.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious to see where this goes.
I think it'll be interesting to see where like all these like video game films go. Like Uncharted,
Super Smash Bros.
They have to do that.
They will.
They have to
They
do
will.
it with it's like an Avengers kind of.
No, they absolutely will. I'm bet like I think there is a lot of potential in games because also I think it gives them more creative freedom.
Even if they're not like cinematic universes, even just getting video game films out again.
Well, no, I think that's the thing is I think also video game films would push them not to make everything super linked.
Yeah.
Because Zelda. But genuinely, I think what they could do is just make a bunch of video game films and then have them all multiverse together. Smash Bros. Easy. You don't even have to think twice about it.
Yeah.
I wrote like 20 pages of a Mario movie script for the crack one day. It rocks, to be honest. That film would be fire.
Do they speak Italian or do they speak Brooklyn? Apparently that's how they speak in the film.
They speak Brooklyn.
Apparently they're gonna have a Brooklyn accent.
Oh my god.
They're not doing the
I wrote him so he said Mamma. I think he says Mamma Mia at some point. And I was performing the script to my girlfriend and I did an Italian accent. It was brilliant. But genuinely though, I think
oh my god.
Genuinely though, I think I think Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has potential. That's my Sonic the Hedgehog 2 rant. I thought it was a shit film, but I kind of intrigued to see where it goes.
Well, I know they're not a shit film, but I guess like a mid film.
Yeah.
Was Fresh.
Okay, I didn't see this one.
A lot of people like Fresh.
Mm-hmm.
The Sebastian Stan and the Daisy Edgar Jones.
I wonder why people like this film. Was it because of Sebastian Stan's
probably
attractiveness?
Because it's not that good besides that.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the premise of the film.
What's the premise?
The premise is basically
sell it to me.
Daisy Edgar Jones is a woman who is looking
sold.
Is a woman. There you go. She's trying to she's looking for a man in her life and blah blah blah. Okay. She goes on dates and doesn't like them, and then eventually she meets Sebastian Stan. Yeah. Who's this cool, suave, sexy guy. Sebastian Stan. And then eventually it turns out that Sebastian Stan is not a very nice man.
Bro.
He's a bit of a naughty boy.
Okay.
And then other things happen, which it is one of those films where if you spoil too much of it, it's kind of okay.
It defeats the point.
The film takes a long time to set up its key, the main theme around it.
Mm-hmm.
Really spends the title, the title card doesn't show till 45 minutes in.
Oh wow, how long is it?
It's nearly 2 hours. That's where our problem is.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Any wanting to watch it just left.
Once it gets to what it is, it could be cool.
Yes.
The problem is it doesn't. Hey, my genuine issue with it is not nearly vulgar or crazy enough to justify both the length. I mean, it's nearly 2 hours long.
Yeah.
It is.
Just to be. I want to make sure we're not saying the long films are bad.
No, absolutely no. We're going to
talk about some fucking long ass films.
Yeah, I love long films.
Yeah.
It's more so that the story that is here is probably a perfect 100-minute film.
A film has to be able to justify its length.
Yeah, exactly. I have no problem with long films. I love long films. I think they're great. It's just you need to justify that.
No,
you don't need to be say for example Stranger Things.
2.5
hours.
2.5 hours.
That's cool.
that's they.
Yeah.
Maybe they will justify that.
They will.
But no, they won't. But you know what I'm saying. But the problem with Stranger Things as a length isn't the fact that it's a finale that's 2.5 hours long. The problem is the fact that we know for almost certainty that could have been multiple episodes, we know it doesn't need to be 2.5 hours. They're just doing it because they want to shove it up people's asses. Or whatever.
Exactly. And Fresh does not need to be I think the problem with the film is once it gets to its main point, it just becomes so even though it wasn't a film made for Hulu, it was a festival film that was picked up. it feels like it was made for a streaming service.
Okay.
It's just got this feeling to it. It's
I get
very
you.
like the cinematography is really flat. There's a couple of like cool needle drops here and there that are like neat, but like there's not much going on.
Yeah.
It's like once it gets to its premise like properly, it doesn't do that much.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
There's some gore in it, but the gore's not even that good considering what the film is about. It seems like it's ripe for like some really cool gore and stuff like that, and like just general horror. But it kind of just ends up being like kind of repetitive and just kind of it doesn't. It's and again, it's nearly 2 hours long, and it doesn't. It was one of them where I'm like, by the time it gets to that point, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
It did not. And the thing is, like, ironically, I watched Fresh the same day I went to go see the Batman later on that day.
Yeah.
Batman's nearly 3 hours long.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Loved it. The length, I didn't have that.
Fun.
I thought the length like wasn't really an issue. Like, and that's only 3 hours long. But Fresh is kind of that felt longer than the Batman for me.
I get you.
Which is bizarre. But
no, I get you.
Exactly. It just and it was one like, people like it. That's fine. I didn't. I found it to be very mid.
Sebastian mid.
Sebastian mid. Semidian stan.
Genuinely, can I get a quick 1-2 punch of animated films out of the way?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I've got 3 animated films. I'll just
fucking
hell, fucking
bam.
I watch too many animated films. But mid animated films.
Yeah.
Welcome to the mid animated films collection. Hotel Transylvania 4 Transylvania is genuinely one of the better Hotel Transylvania films.
Okay.
But it's also a Hotel Transylvania film.
The fourth one.
The fourth one, Adam Sandler isn't even signing up for these anymore.
Nope.
The plot is a DeviantArt fanfiction because it's the monsters become human and the humans become monsters. Cool. How long did that one take up to think up? And I watched it with my girlfriend and she genuinely said, no spoilers about Hotel Transylvania 4. She literally said, I wonder if the house will explode at the end. And then like 5 minutes later the house exploded.
Okay.
It's like that's the level it's at. Like that's the level of writing. Like I could have given this like a typewriter to my like 7-year-old cousin and be like, we need a new Hotel Transylvania film, and like he would have spat this out. The house was like it's like a horror.
That's a Netflix thing.
It's like a horror anthology. It's boring. It's really really boring. I wanted to like this so bad. So bad. Yeah. It was. I watched it again with my girlfriend. It was our movie night. It was my pick for movie night. Yeah. And we haven't done any movie nights since. Or at least I'm not allowed to pick anymore.
Yeah, okay.
It was really, really boring. There are some cool, weird, creepy bits. Okay. I like the first story. There's 3 stories. I like the first one. It's boring, but there's like the second half's cool.
Okay.
The second story was again a bit boring, but had like some really cool surrealist bits. The third story is terrible, and I never want to see it ever again or think about it ever again. It's got some decent moments, bits of quality. Otherwise, it's exhausting. You get like the stories feel so long, despite the fact that like it's an anthology. If anything, it should feel too quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
it should be like 10-15 minutes.
Exactly.
At most, yeah.
But it's cause I think each story's about half an hour, and you feel that half an hour.
Hell, Jesus.
You feel that half an hour.
What?
The Bad Guys is the last one.
Yeah.
The Bad Guys, despite having just a surprisingly funny title, but it's actually like genuinely good. I was surprised. Predictable as piss. It is like it's got a villain twist. It's the almost obvious villain twist, and there are some twists in the film that feel like they were supposed to be set up when there wasn't. It feels like a lot got cut. Weirdly enough, like it feels just like a bunch of stuff just got cut for some reason. And they were like, we were supposed to talk about this character, but we didn't, and it made a lot of the reveals lose anything.
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell's a wolf, and
I like Sam Rockwell.
He's good.
Great guy.
He's good. Can't wait for the furry porn. Aside from that, it was fine.
Yeah.
It's like my problem with a lot of animated films nowadays. It's weird. This is my problem with them. So many of them are now trying to be different in their animation style that they're starting to become
the same.
And there's such an obvious thing to blame for this. Spider-Verse showed guys, we can innovate.
See, it's
Think about
interesting because I feel like Puss in Boots is doing it really well.
Yeah.
Where Puss in Boots is sticking to its animating style. But
Sorry, that's a sentence I never thought anyone
I
would
know,
say.
I know. Like the part, like I have no interest in Puss in Boots, but I saw the trailer for it, and like
I need to watch that trailer. Actually.
and like there's a couple of really cool bits of animation
Yeah,
that are really inventive and interesting. Like there's like some like stop motion almost like Lego movie sort of, but it's like but it still is a it's still a similar like animation style. Which makes sense that it sticks to that because it's.
I'm sick of people trying to do animation like cool animation now where they just like lower the frame rate.
Yeah.
Like that's you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we've seen this. We've seen this. Even stuff like in the Miss Marvel trailer. Like the Miss Marvel trailer has a bunch of Spider-Verse-esque animation stuff in it. It's like
I'm gonna release a live action movie that's 10 like FPS, and I'm gonna be like, oh, it's inventive.
well, the thing is, like Spider-Verse pulled it off somehow, but generally the lowering FPS doesn't look good. So I don't get why. But yeah, that's my animated collection. There are 2 good animated films, but I'll talk about them later.
I have a quick fire.
Go on.
Because
Hit me with your collection.
Okay. Even though I'm not a reviewer, I am a reviewer.
He's a reviewer.
I've reviewed a couple of films this year for the website Loud and Clear, which I will round off dead quick.
Yeah. Do you want to say that looking at the camera?
Loud and Clear. I review stuff on Loud and Clear. Go read them.
You review stuff where?
Loud and Clear
What's
Reviews.
What's the website address?
Loudandclearreviews.com. I think it's loudandclear.com.
What's that review address again?
Loudandclearreviews.com.
That's bonkers. I'm going to go to Loud and Review.
Yeah.
Wait, what's
Loud and Clear Reviews.
Loudandclearreviews.com.
Yes.
I'm going to go to visit loudandclearsreview.com.
You do that.
Okay.
You enjoy it. Loudandclearreviews.com.
Bookmark it.
Yeah, you better.
Give it a
Slags.
Give it a like on Google. I don't know how that works.
Like on Google. You can bookmark my author page that I have.
I will
there.
do that.
Yeah.
I will bookmark it. I will make a bookmark of it.
A physical, real bookmark.
Physical bookmark. Okay, hit me.
Yeah.
Hit me.
So I reviewed The Found Footage Phenomenon.
Yeah.
Which is a documentary on Shudder.
Okay.
Which is about found footage films.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. A little bit like it doesn't. It's one of those where I think it's better if you watch it as someone who likes found footage, rather than someone who's like looking to kind of get into it.
Okay.
I think like it's a decent like documentary, but it does struggle a little bit in terms of making you interested in found footage.
Yeah.
Because it covers like some like lesser known films, but it's almost like it expects you to have already seen a lot of them.
Okay.
Despite the fact that like some of these films are like 10 people have watched them because it's like found footage. But I like found footage. It's decent. There's some good like little like interesting like facts in there. Like there's a thing about like that film Megan is Missing.
Yeah.
Which blew up on TikTok. There's a thing about the director, and there's a really interesting thing where even though people despise that film, he was talking about how he actually got a lot of letters off people and emails from people who watched the film and like just fell in love with it and said it was like really amazing.
That's
and like
cool.
they got like a really strong attachment to it, and it's like even though that film has like a 1.4 or something on Letterboxd, it's interesting that it's still because it's I've never seen it, but it's something that I actually want to watch.
Yeah.
Even though I know because I'm aware that even though it's pretty universally hated, there is that minority that adore it. It's great and like it's really strong. And it's like that's what's interesting about like found footage in general.
No, definitely.
One of These Days, which is a indie film with that Joe Cole.
Okay.
Peaky Blinders and stuff. It's about like this competition that's run in America where you put like your hands on a car and you can see like how long like you can endure it for. Like you can, if it's basically like you can like put your hands on a car and just kind of like endure that for hours and hours and hours on end. It's like a real competition. It's a drama about that.
It's like a Mr. Beast video.
Yes. But yeah, no, that was really that was a decent little like drama. It lose the last like it's way too long.
Yeah.
It hits like a really good end point.
Okay.
That's another word. It's 2 hours long, but then the last like 20 minutes is like this kind of like flashback that's not necessary.
Wait, so it's a film about that competition?
It's basically about like the contestants who were there, and you kind of see them like as at this like car, and kind of you see them talk to each other and stuff.
Okay,
like that.
I think that
And then-
sounds like it could be cool.
Yeah, and then it also shows like the story of like one of the organisers.
Yeah,
Like, kind of their, like day to day. It's kind of like it's a very like small drama, like kind of But no, it was good. I also interviewed the lead actress and director of this film as
Wow. Okay.
which was really fun. On loudandclearreviews.com.
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 Bonkers.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, that's really sick.
Windfall.
I saw Windfall.
which is the Netflix film. I know a lot of people don't like it, and I
Yes.
completely get it, but I just have like a fetish for films that are mostly in one house, and it's just
See,
three people.
I
talking
have
to
a
each
Jesse
other.
Plemons fetish.
I also have a Jesse
So-
Plemons fetish, so those two things
It
together.
didn't work out. I didn't mind the film. I thought Jesse Plemons was sexy.
He is definitely the highlight of that film.
Yes.
It is, because it's Jesse Plemons.
It's Jesse Plemons.
It's fucking great.
Best actor.
But no, I really dug it. I mean, I do get why people don't like it.
Yeah.
I do get it, but it's what I thought it was good.
Okay.
Fuck the haters. And the last one, which the review's not out yet,
Oh,
but
wow.
I can talk about it because
Okay.
there's no embargo for it. It's a film called The Righteous,
Okay.
which is a religious horror film, very midnight mass. I would say is like
Mm-hmm.
about this. It's about this like former priest who loses their adopted daughter,
Okay.
and like one night this younger guy comes to their house and he starts being friendly with them, but then crazy shit starts to happen.
Mm.
That's similar to Windfall a little bit, where it mostly is just in one house.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
people talking. Interestingly, it's directed by Mark O'Brien, who's in Ready or Not.
Okay.
He plays the husband in that,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
also the older guy in Ready or Not is also in it,
Okay.
and it's kind of like a bit of like a reunion between the two.
Or not reunion.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's really interesting, but like that guy, like he directed, wrote it, and produced it,
Okay.
and like all of like, and
That's-
I really fucking liked it.
Okay.
It's a really interesting film. Kind of the ending's a bit like, I think it was doing a good job of like having it be very like leaving it up to you to kind of figure out what's going on. Then it kind of does that thing of the montage where you see bits from earlier on in the film, like lines and stuff, and then it's like, it's all coming together. It's like I don't like when films do that. It's just something
No,
I
get it,
I don't
yeah.
mind it in certain films if it's done well, but I feel like
Yeah,
it's
I think it's nice if it is. I don't like it before a reveal. I kind of like it after a reveal.
Yeah, like if it's sort of like, okay, now I see like the the pieces.
Yeah.
But like I think it kind of like, but for like a debut, it's really fucking cool. Like it's a really like good start.
That's sick.
Like but they're like the 4 films.
Okay.
That have all kind of on Loud and Clear Reviews.
Loud and Clear
Loud and Clear.
Reviews.com.
.com. I also review shows there, but we're not talking about.
That's bonkers. True. Fuck shows.
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck TV.
Fuck TV.
Film Hive.
I was gonna say, speaking of TV, Moon Knight. Okay. Well, I talk about bad animated films. Good animated
Good
films.
ones, yeah.
Bad Guys is pretty good, but that's so 2 animated films will come out this year. I don't know why. I just watched a ton of animated films because I think they're really easy to watch. So I don't mind. Like I will happily watch a bad animated film because it's easy to watch. Apollo 10.5: A Space Age Childhood.
I need to see that.
Potentially, it's gonna sound weird that I call it a good film, and I'm gonna say it's potentially the most disappointing film of the year
What?
because I love Richard Linklater.
Yeah.
But bloody hell, man! You don't understand. It's 2022. It's 9 years since Before Midnight. You're supposed to make another Before film, and
didn't do it.
he made a film called Apollo 10.5: A Space Age Childhood, which is fine. It's a good film. It is essentially just him monologuing about nostalgia for and the 80s for however long, which is fine.
Great.
It's pretty. It's a pretty looking animated film, but it was very underwhelming.
But it's a rotoscope one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Scanner Darkly.
Yeah, and like the one he did called Waking Life,
Waking Life, yeah.
which is cool. It's nice to see Richard Linklater doing it, and I always love seeing directors who typically don't do animation doing animation, like Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
My favorite films from Wes Anderson are generally his animated films. But with that being said, I couldn't help but feel like Richard Linklater could have just made Before 4, and I would have cried. But oh well.
What if he didn't make it because of the pandemic?
Fuck the pandemic. And then the other one, which I thought was a lot better than I expected it to be, almost the other way around, if you might say, was Turning Red, the new Pixar film.
Oh yeah.
Pixar, for some reason, seems to be on a bit of a hot streak right now.
Even though all of their films are weirdly going to Disney.
Yeah, I mean,
Plus.
when I say hot streak, I mean
Yeah.
their films are good. I don't mean that the Disney are kicking their ass.
Disney seems to fucking hate all of these films unless it's like established like Lightyear or something.
Well, I don't get it, but like Luca, I liked. Well, I say hot streak, 2 films. I liked Luca a lot.
Soul was.
I hated Soul.
No, but like people love it though.
Yeah, people love Soul.
So I guess it's still on a hot streak.
But Turning Red, I thought was so much better than I thought it would be. It's got a genuine. It talks about things in a film that I never expected to see in a kids animated film, which I think that for me that will always be, because I personally I think representation is the most important thing in cinema. But especially, I think especially when you come from communities that get nothing, you can completely relate, like understand, because I'm asexual, and as an asexual person, representation doesn't exist. It doesn't. We got one scene in Sex Education, and we got one BoJack Horseman character. That is it.
That's all. There
is not a single asexual film. There's nothing. So I can very easily understand how important representation is to people. Because I remember there's one film that came out a couple of years ago. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. What is it called? I can find it really easily.
Because I'm autistic, so like a lot of so I'm looking for like good like representation of that. Like I know I've heard really good things about Cha Real Smooth.
Yes.
Which apparently there's an autistic character in that who's actually like on the spectrum, which is refreshing. Because usually if you want like an autistic film, you gotta ask Sia. For one. Like you don't want that. Like honestly, one of the best depictions, weirdly enough, is fucking Ben Affleck in The Accountant.
That's bonkers.
Which is insane, but like considering it's obviously not like that realistic because not every single autistic person's Jason Bourne. But
you're not like a super badass accountant.
I wish I was, but what it is with that, it's a lot of the little moments in it where it's like It felt like, obviously it'd be great if it was like a person on the spectrum who was doing it, but it at the very least it felt like they'd done the research. So it still is Ben Affleck doing the Jason Bourne thing, but it's also a genuine like interesting depiction of an autistic person.
No,
so you do like that's the thing, because I know there's a lot of like sort of Asian representation coming out now, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I'm assuming we'll talk about. We'll be talking about that.
Oh, we will.
Pachinko on Apple TV Plus, which is fantastic. Everyone needs to watch that, by the way.
I will.
Please.
I need to.
And after
so there was a film that came out 2 years ago called Straight Up, which was like, it wasn't even an asexual film, but it was like the closest we got. And I cried my eyes out. I love that film. But this isn't even the point. The point is that I can understand why representation, even stuff like the fact that Turning Red talks about aspects of femininity that I know for certain, because I watched it again with my girlfriend, and that gave me such a better perspective of the film, because she was shocked at some of the stuff it talked about, to do with periods, to do with puberty, and I think that stuff, talking about that stuff, is so important in films like this, and in kids' films. It's so important, because even, and I know we're two guys talking about a film about that's so intrinsic to girls, and but even as a guy, guys are clueless to this shit.
Yeah, exactly. Because even schools now, like, it's a bit tough to really get good sex education.
Think about the amount of fucking little boys who are gonna watch this film and go, periods. And no, but that is so important.
No, exactly. That's the thing. That's why it's like kind of hilarious to see people. It's not, but like even just like this idea of like talking about like like kids know too much about sex in the schools. I was like, do they really? Could I even say like education's pretty shit?
No, exactly. Kids don't know fuck all.
So it's like even then, it's like. All they know is, I guess it's a thing.
Exactly. Adults don't know fuck all.
Exactly. So I really don't think it's that good.
So I think it's why films like this are really important, and it helps that the film is also animated gorgeously. Is genuinely funny, and has genuinely good characters, and it's good. The film aspects of this film are still really good. But I think the main takeaway from this film for me was the fact that it was how brave it was. How and
it's just a shame that fucking Disney, for whatever reason, decided
You do
to
have to
shaft
wonder
it.
if Disney saw a kids' film about periods and went,
Because
well,
there was no reason to put it on Disney Plus.
no, it's not.
It came
No,
out
there's
like
no reason.
because
It's not even like.
there was like no competition.
No, literally. Like, I guess Luca obviously was kind of a product of the pandemic.
Yeah, like Luca made sense to put that on Disney Plus.
This doesn't.
But,
This
yeah.
is just Disney being stupid.
It came out. It came out on Disney Plus a week after the Batman.
No, exactly.
Like felt like it was one of them. There was
It
no.
could have.
It was fine. Like it would have.
It would have done because the thing is, people liked it.
Exactly. It would. It probably would have done perfect money because there was there was nothing else.
Well, exactly.
Like there was like
I
for
don't
kids.
understand
there was
it,
nothing.
but for some reason they didn't let this film get in cinemas. It was stupid, but it's a good film.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Turning Red, go and watch Turning Red. It's great.
Well, a good film that I can talk about.
Yes.
In my nice little smorgasbord of films.
Yeah.
It's a film that's the total opposite of Turning Red,
I'm okay.
but it's about teenagers.
Oh.
The Fallout.
Yes, I like that film.
The Fallout. Okay, so The Fallout was one of those films that I knew was really good from the festival circuit.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, came out like around about Euphoria was on.
Yeah.
But Euphoria was kind of in the middle of its second season, which was a bit mid.
Yeah.
Like so I didn't know what to sort of expect, but I watched it and it's a really good fucking film.
Yeah.
It's just a really powerful a film about two girls who basically form a friendship over a school shooting.
Yeah.
That they both were kind of victims of, who both had to kind of endure that fear of being in there while it was going on.
Yeah.
And so it's got Maddie Ziegler, who funny enough was in Sia's music last year, which is
Wait,
not
Maddie
good.
Ziegler is the one from fucking Dance Moms.
Dance Moms as well. She's really good in it, but the start of the show is fucking Jenna Ortega, is it?
Yeah.
She's fucking outstanding in that film, and I mean, obviously I'll mention just that quick as well, which is because it's also on my list. Scream, which was fine, but she was one of the best parts of that film.
Yeah.
She's just really she's a really fun she's a really fun and exciting actress who's doing a lot of different films.
Yeah.
That I think of genuinely, because she's also an X as
Yeah.
well,
I need to watch X.
which again was fine.
Yeah.
I thought a bit too long,
Okay.
a bit too I don't know. It wasn't as good as what I was hoping it to be. But but it's one of them where I think she's really promising as an actress, and she's doing a lot of really cool things.
Yeah.
And and I think The Fallout, because I'd say a Scream and X are doing good jobs of kind of making it into a bit of a Scream queen.
Yeah.
Whereas I think The Fallout is showing that she's a really good serious actress, and I could see her getting an Oscar or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that it came out kind of while Euphoria was on, because it's interesting to watch Euphoria, which I like Euphoria, but I'm not going to pretend it's the most realistic thing.
Yes.
Euphoria is fucking stupid for a lot of it, for a lot of it, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun, it's quite funny. Zendaya is excellent in it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to
Fun
kind of...
feels like a weird word to describe Euphoria.
It is, but what it is, it's because it's so outlandish.
Yes.
But I don't know whether that's on purpose or Sam Levinson just thinks he's the fucking best thing since sliced bread.
He did direct Malcolm and Marie.
He did.
I
thought that film was okay. But yeah, it's interesting. Zendaya was good in it. John David Washington was good. Okay. Agree to disagree. But it was interesting to kind of see all that with really outlandish. Then watch The Fallout, which is probably more closer to reality, which is fucking depressing. Yes. But it's not misery porn. It's just a genuinely interesting.
No, I thought that was one of the more interesting things about it. Is how it never fell into feeling like misery porn.
No, even though it came out, it was on HBO Max.
Yeah.
And stuff, and it came out when Euphoria was kind of on, and the trailer I think as well kind of has that. Yeah. And has that kind of vibe a little bit that they're trying to make with that.
Yeah.
And it's but it's not like that at all. It's kind of the inverse of what teen drama is.
Yeah.
Which is but no, it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Get in there.
Yeah.
Speaking of something that I felt walked the fine line of not turning into misery porn that we both watched, On the Count of Three.
Aha! Yes, I fucking adored that
I
film.
really, really like that
Fucking
film.
brilliant film.
Really like that film. It's about two guys who form a suicide pact and then decide to live out their last day
Yes.
planning to kill themselves at the end.
Yes.
It is obviously about very sensitive subjects.
It's a very... It has this weird, like, it toes this bizarre line of...
I don't know how it does it.
I don't...
I think that was my big takeaway from this is I walked away from the film and went, how on earth did that pull that off?
It's interesting because it's... I found it really funny.
Yes. No, it is.
It's really funny, and then it just stops being funny.
Oh, yeah.
But not in, like, a distracting way. It kind of toes this line, but then it's, like, as the day goes on, as it's so... But it's one of them where, like, you sort of realise it's, like, the comedy stops, but it's more so... It gets less and less funny as it goes on.
It could have felt like two very separate films, but it somehow... I don't know how it does it. It manages to pull off feeling cohesive.
It's not even that long either.
No, it's like 80 minutes.
Which
it's
is like
tiny.
Yeah, which again, like I have no problem with long films, but to me, that is one of the best parts about that film is how it's able to go through all of this shit, and it's like I mean, it ended, and I was like, it's like just under 80 minutes. How the fuck did it do that?
It walks such a fine line.
Yeah.
It walks it so well.
Yeah.
You never feel like, oh, now it's the funny part. It just like you said, when I watched it, I didn't even notice the funny stop.
What it is with the comedy, is it's like it's not laugh out loud funny in terms of there are like bits where I did laugh because Christopher Abbott is really funny in it. Like in the beginning, like he's got some good lines and good just like but it's one of them where you're not like pissing yourself laughing. It's more so you laugh along with it because it's quite absurd. A lot of it, like early on, just this idea of like some of the stuff that they do, and kind of some of the lines and the way some of the lines are delivered and stuff, and like. But yeah, I mean, it's also got one of the best uses of a fucking Papa Roach song in my life, like which I fucking love nu metal. So
it's great.
It's insanely good.
It is really good, really good film, really solid film.
Another film that I guess is kind of misery porn, sort of, is Vortex.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen this one. I really want to.
So Vortex is the new film from Gaspar Noé, which is it. I don't know how to say that. I say Gaspar Noé. I've heard a lot of people say it like that.
I'd say Gaspar Noé.
Gaspar Noé. He is... So, it's a bit weird to say that this is probably his tamest film. Given that it's about a film... It's basically a film about an old couple.
Yeah.
One has got serious heart problems, and the other one is showing very, very serious signs of dementia.
Yes.
Pretty much... Like, it's showing signs, but I'd say probably when it starts, they've got it. Like they're not showing signs by that point. They don't know. Like they're pretty on the heavy end, and so the film is essentially 2.5 hours of this old couple in their day to day doing stuff. The husband who's suffering from heart problems is a writer. He's writing this book about like films and dreams. That's kind of and there's a lot of that talking about dreams, and there's a lot of like sort of. A lot of people say it's pretentious dialogue, but it's a lot of talk about dreams and the idea of that and like films being.
You've sold me the word pretentious dialogue.
But it's very like if you've seen Gaspar Noé's films, it's very much like that where it's not. It doesn't have this like it feels authentic even though. A lot of people probably don't talk like that. It's interesting. It kind of like toes this weird line, and the central couple of the film also have a son who's dealing with problems of his own. He has a son. He's got drug problems as well, and it's like, and his stuff. He's kind of like a supporting character. He doesn't really have like a clear arc.
Okay.
I feel like his stuff would probably be seen as the weakest point of the film.
Okay.
Because I guess he doesn't need to be there, but I also at the same time I'm like, I don't know if I'd necessarily cut him out of the film entirely.
Yeah, I get it.
It's one of those films where, the first half an hour of it. I'd argue so the whole thing takes place on 2 screens. Yeah, pretty much. You got one screen and you got two. So you got these 2 screens, and essentially you see 2 different perspectives on the screen at all times. Yeah. So it might be on one side it's the father or the husband, and then on the other it's like the mother, like kind of just doing stuff, like So the film starts, and so the woman is essentially walking around, and she's going into different shops. And then while all that's going on, you see, the guy who's just at his like desk talk to people on the phone.
Yeah.
That is essentially uncut for like 30 minutes of the film, and that is it. Yeah, you could cut it, but it's one of those films where it's interesting because Gaspino's like films are typically very loud. There's a lot of strobe lights. There's a lot of he fucking hates epileptics. I don't know what it is about them. He can't stand them clearly. But there's none of that in the film.
Okay.
But at the same time, it still is a Gaspino film. The end credits is still at the beginning of the film, like he does.
Genius.
He still does that. There's still like very hard to watch scenes. Like I honestly felt myself having I genuinely felt like I was having two anxiety attacks in the film.
Yeah.
There's like two very, very, very horrible scenes that are like happen in the film that are just hard to watch. Not necessarily because they're gory or anything like that. They're just the way they're directed, and you kind of just like. I won't give too much away. It's not. I mean, it's not really a film where you like don't spoil it. Like it's not like Endgame, but like there's like a shot where like someone has a heart attack, and you basically just see them just slowly like you realize they're having it, but they can't call an ambulance, and you kind of just see them. They're walking around, the hand on the heart, and it goes on for like 10 minutes, and then that's that, and then the ending, which. It's gonna sound like hyperbole, but it is genuinely that ending is one of the scariest things I've ever seen, and it's probably one of the best endings I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
And it is just literally an empty house.
Yeah.
It's shot of an empty house with this like ambient like music playing under it, but it gets louder and louder and louder, and it's just the way it's done is really fucking strong, and it's like it's. The way
I can't wait.
It's such like I can't even. It's tough to really recommend to people. I mean, but at the same time, I would recommend people watch it because it is so like strong, especially if people have went through that kind of, people who went through like those kind of issues, especially like dementia and stuff. I mean, because it is. I mean, Gaspino. It's a very personal film as well because Gaspino suffered a fucking brain hemorrhage in 2020, and this is kind of the product of that. He survived, and it was probably like it was very close to killing him. Thankfully, it didn't, and he made this film from it. A film that's completely different from anything else he's made. He's one of my favorite directors, and because he's very controversial, and I don't necessarily like everything he's made. But there is no filmmaker like him. And they're directors I like. I love directors that are just they make films like you can tell it's a Gaspino film when you watch it. Even a film like this, which is completely different from the rest of his work, you can tell it's a Gaspino film just by the way it tells its story, just the way it's not a film I can necessarily recommend, but it's a film that I think people should watch because it is fucking outstanding. It's amazing. I love him.
That's really I can't wait. I really, really cannot wait.
It's not online anywhere. It's not on VOD anywhere. I saw it in a cinema. I would recommend if people can to see it in a cinema.
I will find a way.
It's playing in the Fact. That's where I saw it.
I'll find a way.
You might,
I will find a way.
If you can, watch it in a cinema. Because the way the format's done, like it's so much more powerful in a cinema.
Speaking of misery porn, which just seems to be our favourite topic right
now.
I
love it.
After Yang.
Oh god.
Which
I mean, it is misery porn.
It is.
But I'd say it's a bit more optimistic.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It's very much. It's almost exactly what I feel like. And I will say, I think After Yang, it's not grown off me a bit. I definitely am not as keen on it as I was when I first watched it. That isn't necessarily. I really liked the film when I first watched it. Now I'm a bit more like, I like it.
Do you think it might be one of those films where when you watch it, you'll love it again? Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly.
Because I'm like that with some of those. I'm like, I fucking love it. But then I don't necessarily think about it. But then I'll watch it again. And
if I was to watch it again, I think I'd feel the same way. It has my favourite opening out of any film.
I love the opening.
The opening is fantastic.
The opening is so... I even just listen to the song.
Yeah.
That it's on, even though it's... Yeah,
and then
great.
It's just like, it's complete... And then it's completely different the rest of the film. But
it's Boss. That's great.
Yeah, no, it's Boss. With that being said, though, I think After Yang might be the blueprint of pretentious art film. It is almost the stock image of pretentious art film. that I think if you were to go up to like a random stranger and go, what do you think a pretentious art drama is like? They would tell you the plot of After Yang.
At the same time, no, I would say it's a lot more accessible than like Columbus. Is
Yes.
The other
Yeah,
film that he made. That director, I'm forgetting his name. What is his name?
It's like a cool name.
It's a cool name, but it's just one name. He hasn't got like a last yet.
But
cool.
it's
But like because
it's
Columbus is like very much that it's just people talking. It's very like before like it's very much like them almost. Because it is kind of just like, it is just a girl and a guy just talking to each other for a lot of the time. Talking about like art and like architecture.
That's cool.
That's kind of what a lot of that film is for like, it's like 100-minute like runtime.
He's
but
definitely
it's really good.
got a certain style.
He does, yeah.
I think After Yang, it's very slow.
Mm-hmm.
It's very philosophical in ways. Colin Farrell is fantastic.
Yeah.
I watched it like the day after the Batman, and it was
yeah, they both came out the same day, which is bizarre. Yeah,
he's brilliant in it. It uses sci-fi really well.
It's one of the coolest sci-fi stories.
Yes.
The way it uses that, and I even like some of the world building and stuff, which isn't a huge part of it, but I like the idea of like some of the things about like it's obviously about like a robot basically. Like, and I like some of the like the ideas that are in it of like the.
With that being with all that being said, I have not spared a single thought for the film after watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I don't like to hold that against a film, I think there's a reason. Like, I remember watching the Batman and watching After Yang back to back, basically. And after watching both of them, I was like, I prefer After Yang. If you ask me now,
it'd be Batman.
I think it would probably be Batman.
Then again, it's a bit unfair to compare.
Well, yeah, but I think I think you can compare any film. But so I think the Batman is the kind of film that kind of grows on you because there's nothing like it. And it's new, it's fresh. We're not going to talk too much about that because we've spoken about it before.
Yeah.
With that, After Yang is there are other things like it. It's something in a crowd in a way. It's a genre where there's a lot of good stuff, but it's kind of just it falls into being more of the stuff.
It does.
There's nothing wrong with this is my problem.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the film.
It's just okay.
Well, there's flaws with the film, but there's nothing like inherently bad with the film.
No.
I just have not spared a single thought for it. Even on the count of three, it's a film I've thought about. Like, I'd put in, like, it's a film I've thought about a lot more, like, since I finished watching it. After Yang, I watched it, I think I talked about it once to someone, and I was like, this is a pretty good film.
Yeah.
And I was like, I forgot it came out this year. I forgot. I saw it 2 months ago.
I think it's one of those films that, like, I think if you do watch it again,
yes,
I feel like because it's interesting with that director. So he directs like half of that show, Pachinko.
Yeah,
and it's interesting because I feel like his style is there, but it's not as philosophical because he kind of directs under the television thing, which is a hell of a lot more narrative. It's a bit more like Pachinko's more like narrative heavy than like Pachinko is a bit like a sort of like Columbus or After Yang, where it's a bit more. It's less narrative heavy, but it's more like kind of thematic and kind of a bit more character based. But no, like I mean, it's. I do know what you mean about like there are still bits I think about. I still think about the ending. Yeah. I still think about the opening sequence.
The opening's good. I'll give you the opening's really good.
There's still parts of it that I think about that it's like, but I do get like in my 2022 list it has fell, but that's just because I found the 5 out of 5s.
True, but I think After Yang, because what I do is I make my lists at the end of a year.
Yeah.
I can't see After Yang be like After Yang was at one point my favorite film of the year.
I
can't see it breaking into like a top 15, top 20.
For me, it's in my top 10, but it's at number 8. Yeah. And I could easily see it getting
like you know what I mean. Like, I think at the end of the year when I'm thinking about I will have to be reminded of its existence in order to think, and that to me is the sign that not necessarily a film's failed, but that a film might not be as strong as its initial impression.
I think you can also kind of blame the way it was released as well.
Sure.
Because I know it's obviously it came out in this country. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. In America, obviously, a cinema release helps.
A cinema release helps, and also I know for over like we haven't even got it yet.
Yeah.
And also fucking A24.
No one's talking about the film.
Yeah, everyone's like fucking A24 shoved it on Showtime for some reason.
Yeah. But it's even comparing to something like On the Count of Three, which I know I only watched recently, so it's kind of unfair to compare. But On the Count of Three is a film that I thought about plenty of times after I watched it.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about it to everyone.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about it.
Like, exactly.
Yeah.
After Yang, bro, I saw that film and I was like, great film. And then just my face just fell.
Well, let's talk about the opposite of that. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. It's a sci-fi film.
Oh,
Boom.
nice
Transition.
Nice transition. I was wondering where you
A24 as well.
A24. So I'll just Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I'll let you talk.
Is my favorite film of potentially the century,
God.
because, and when I say century, I mean the 21st century. I don't mean like from 1922 because that's all of cinema. But Everything Everywhere is, I've never felt a film more made for me. And I fully admit this is not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
I've seen a lot of people who don't like it.
I've seen a lot of people who don't like it.
Which is fair.
But the thing is as someone, my favourite thing potentially in the entire world, my favourite concept is the multiverse theory. Even on an emotional level.
I mean, we know how much you love multiverse.
I love No Way Home. No, but genuinely, I found a lot of emotional attachment, a lot of relief in the multiverse theory. I have a really personal connection to that whole idea that there are different versions of you out doing different things. You don't understand how pissed off I am because my entire life I've wanted to write art about the multiverse, and now I feel like, what's the point?
You can't.
Because this film handles it perfectly.
Yeah.
I still think there's things people can do with the multiverse.
You still, I mean, you still can. Yeah,
no,
it's
exactly.
still because because I guess one thing you could do is a multiverse film that's like dark, like a dark, a horror movie.
Hear me out.
Oh.
So it's a multiverse movie where we bring back characters from 2000's The X-Men.
Could we bring back Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider? Can we bring back Jennifer Garner as Elektra? And fucking Colin Farrell as Bullseye?
Please bring them back.
We need to bring.
Can we bring back the 1960s Captain America?
Oh my God.
But
let's bring back Blade.
Who cares?
Wesley Snipes Blade.
But no, genuinely, Everything Everywhere it's so made for me. Not just even in the multiverse. In the style of filmmaking. My favorite style of filmmaking is experimental surrealism.
Yes.
And particularly experimental surrealism, for some reason, about the meaning of life. For me, it just works.
Yeah.
There's a film, It's Such a Beautiful Day. I adore that film.
Yeah.
Adore that film. Which is, I would say, experimental surrealism about the meaning of life. This is like that, but times a billion.
To me, it's the perfect blend of experimentalism, but it's also really accessible.
Exactly.
It's a really fun blockbuster.
Exactly.
Even though it's got like a budget of like 25 million. I think it toes this like perfect line of like, it is really experimental. There's a lot of like, even like the Rocks.
Yes.
Like mode where it's like a good like 5 or 10 minutes of just complete silence with subtitles. But then it's obviously, then it goes like silliness. Then it goes to this, then it goes to that, and then there's all of these different things, and it's like, it's interesting that a film of 25 with a budget of 25 million has a far larger imagination than a $200 million budget. Like
it's mad how
Marvel.
The silliness never gets overwhelming.
The silliness kind of just feels like another element.
Exactly.
In the film.
My girlfriend showed it to her dad yesterday, and her dad loved it. Her dad is so actively not a film man, but he got it.
But loved it.
He got with it. He loved it. It's a film that in some ways somehow manages to feel like it's made for everyone, despite the fact it also feels like it's exactly made for me, and my taste is shit. Like, I liked Ambulance. I like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. We will talk about Ambulance. But, you know what I mean? Like, Everything Everywhere feels made for me in so many ways. But I can also just see how it's made for everyone. It's it's about the multiverse. It's got incredible action. It's so funny. I cried like 3 times. The ending of that film, of Everything Everywhere, is basically just a shit ton of monologues and montages.
Yeah.
I am a Terrence Malick simp. Do you know how that made me feel watching a bunch of monologues and montages?
Yeah.
Like, I creamed. Like, it's made for me.
Yeah.
Like I've never watched a film where every single aspect of it came together so perfectly for me, and I genuinely thinking about it. By the time I am rotting in my deathbed, I think if you ask me what's your favorite film of all time, it might just be that film.
I remember I was really worried coming into it. The reason being is that a lot of people really loved it.
Oh, no. I was shitting my pants.
Yeah, I was like, oh god, like, what if I don't like this?
Yeah.
And okay.
No, I was shitting my pants at the end of the film that you were going to turn to me and say, well, that was shit.
Okay. So for me, it's not my number one.
Yeah.
My number one, I'll get to that later.
Yeah.
It's my number 4.
Some fucking mid-film.
It's my number 4, actually.
Yeah. That's mental. How have you found 3? What other...
I won't spoil my number 1, but on the couch of freaking Vortex. Or
okay.
that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just because they just appeal to me more.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But it's still a fucking amazing film. It's still like genuinely like one of like the most exciting like films I've seen.
Bro, I haven't been this excited about... Genuinely, because I am so fucking done with modern cinema. like not even like on a fucking pretentious film bro way. Just there has been nothing in modern cinema that's excited me since La La Land.
Yeah.
And I saw La La Land before I was into films. I've not seen anything in cinemas that has made me go, bro. And like on a hot like I like we'll talk about the Northmen. I love the Northmen. But even that film that I gave 10 out of 10 to, I thought was perfect. Even that film didn't make me go, cinema. Yeah. Bro. Everything Everywhere, it just excited me. I still am excited about the film. I like this is, I can't express how much of a massive deal this film is to me. Like, yo. Anyway, you were saying.
So, okay. I'm trying to think of a transition I could do. Okay, got one. So, hot dogs. Hot dogs are phallic. You know what else is phallic?
What?
Penises.
Yeah.
Speaking of penises, Jackass Forever. Jackass Forever.
That was a brilliant transition.
That wasn't that just so crisp?
That was actually fantastic.
Wasn't it incredible?
Hot dog dicks.
Hot dog, yeah. Jackass Forever.
Yeah.
I fucking adore Jackass.
Yeah.
I adore Jackass. I think Jackass is genuinely one of the most wholesome, lovely things ever. Even though it's a bunch of people hating themselves.
I haven't seen a Jackass film.
You've never... Okay.
I watched Bad Grandpa.
I liked it. It's fine.
I didn't like Bad Grandpa.
Okay, I would say Bad Grandpa's not that representative of Jackass.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Jackass Forever is my favourite one.
Okay.
Of the 4. Because I think that one has the tight, like... Because I think with it, is what I think is really interesting about Jackass Forever is, for the most part, they kind of remake a lot of the, like, stunts that they did in the first 3, but there's a lot of like new faces in it, and they kind of just went, okay, here's like this stunt, well, we're just gonna do it even bigger than we did, and it's like
that's cool.
It's like fucking like Johnny Knoxville nearly dies in like one of the scenes. He gets hit by a bull. The bull leads him to like, I think he got like fucking brain damage from it. He went into a concussion and all that. You see the impact, you see like what caused it in the films, all the last like ones in the film. He gets hit by the bull. He does a fucking like somersault. He falls down, right? And he was like dressed up as a magician, like for the stunts as well. And the bull hits him, and he goes down, and he's knocked out, and he comes back, and the first thing he says is, "I guess that bull doesn't like magic." He said, and that is like a perfect like example of just how fucking great these films are.
Yeah.
Because as well, like, not to mention that they're also very gay, even though they're all a bunch of straight guys.
Yeah.
But it's also one of the most like homoerotic films I've ever seen, because it is just a bunch of people just whipping the dicks out.
I love it.
And using it for a stunt.
I love it.
And but it's obviously you cringe and stuff, but I have never laughed so hard during a film in my life.
Yeah.
I was in fucking tears multiple times just watching it from how fucking funny it was.
I love that.
It's just a film that is just fun.
Yeah.
That's why it's a 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, no,
and it's alright. It doesn't have the plot. It doesn't have a beautiful, amazing plot or Oscar awards or whatever. But it's fucking Jackass. It's so fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't have... It's so, earnest and, it's just a really fun film. They've just released 4.5 on Netflix, which I guess is just like a director's cut basically. With,
Okay,
like, more stuff on it, and you still need to like all of the films have that like an extra, but like I need to watch that. But like I know this film only covers like a fraction of what they filmed.
Yeah.
There's tons more, but it's just so tight is the thing. Like the film's like it's not that long at all, but it goes by in a flash because you're just constantly laughing at how fucking stupid a lot of it is.
I love that.
Like you need to watch them.
I do.
You really need to. They're
I
so
love
funny.
dicks.
Wow.
Speaking of dicks,
Speaking of dicks,
Willem Dafoe's The Northman. It's such a good film. I think there's some I can probably figure out the stat. I'm just curious. So I have given across the 2010s I gave how many 5 stars did I give? Like 3 5 stars.
Okay.
To 3 films in the 2010s. Each of them were from different years.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first year I've given 2 films 5 stars.
God.
The Northman and Everything Everywhere. Again, I said at the beginning of this, The Northman felt like it was made for me because it is a 2-hour plus epic about mythology. I know it's about a Viking guy. It's about mythology.
It's about that, and it's also like a basic revenge story.
Yeah.
It's
the inspiration for Hamlet. But anything Norse, especially anything Norse that involves fighting, is generally about the idea of Valhalla, and Valhalla is Norse mythology. I can't say words. Norse mythology. And so it's a mythology film. It's about mythology.
Yeah.
There are some bits at the end that don't make sense if you don't understand what Valhalla is and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love when a film's inaccessible.
But you know what though? For the most part, besides that stuff, just like Everything Everywhere All at Once, it is a very accessible
It's surprisingly accessible.
Like, because that's the thing, because okay, you might not get those parts.
But
then you've also just got a basic revenge story is easy to get into and understand.
The fact that it was the perfect story for them to choose because it is the inspiration for one of the most iconic stories of all time.
Yeah, the story that everyone has copied.
People have seen The Lion King.
Yeah.
People loved the live action remake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is the live action remake of the live action remake. Think about it. Genuinely, this film is so good. It's just the action is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
So the director doesn't really do action.
Yeah,
he's more so like a horror guy.
The performances are great. I never thought I'd be so emotionally invested in a man howling, but you know what? He does those wolf howls really well. He barks like nobody's business. Anya Taylor-Joy's in everything, and to be fair, she kind of deserves it.
She's great.
She is great in it. It looks fantastic. It sounds fantastic.
I think it helps that Robert Eggers is a huge nerd, as we've seen. Like, he obviously has a deep interest in periods like films. I think someone asked him once about would you ever do like a film in modern day? And I think he just said no.
Mood.
He would never do that.
What a hero.
And it's like, I don't want him to, because I think he clearly has a passion for
that's
period
the thing.
like films.
It's the attention to detail.
Yeah.
It's not just the attention to detail as well. It's the... I've always said, it's why I hate theatre. Well, I don't hate theatre, but I hate minimalism in theatre because I especially hate it in Shakespeare because I think there is a certain elegance, there is a certain level of, I'm trying to think, it's like there's a certain beauty in being able to tell a story where it's a fully realised world.
Yeah.
You are fully adhering to a time. I think the best, like Tragedy of Macbeth, I think nails the world because I think committing to having a set, committing to costumes, I think is huge.
Yeah.
And so I hate minimalism in like that when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so I adore, like for instance, I adore the film Excalibur, which commits to having sets for all of its world. Then The Northman does that. It commits fully to being a Viking film. There is no beating around the bush. It is a Viking film. It's about Vikings.
Yes.
And I love that.
But as well, it doesn't glamorize the Viking thing either.
It is Vikings.
Yeah. It fucking like there's fucking like echoes of like Come and See. Like in the film, it doesn't glamorize Vikings.
No, exactly.
It's not like this kind of like he's obviously interested in this stuff, but he doesn't like fetishize it. Like he doesn't.
No, exactly.
You know, he clearly understands.
It's not a make Vikings cool again film.
Yeah, it's
just a guys. Do you know Vikings like killed people?
Yeah,
and like he
brutally murdered people.
Exactly. like
yeah,
and that's why I think it's such a good depiction of Norse mythology.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, Thor glamorizes the hell out of a time that probably shouldn't be glamorized.
Yeah.
Because obviously Thor in, like Asgard and all that stuff, it's portrayed... I know that it's the comic book version of them, sure. But you could argue that it's weird that we have such a prominent comic book version of it anyway. But, that obviously has its own. The fact that people are thirsting over Thor...
Yeah.
is really weird when you consider who Thor is.
Yeah.
And so I think the Northman nails it. I think the Northman absolutely nails what Vikings are.
Well, yeah, because you could even just the idea of, like, it hasn't necessarily got, like, a protagonist and an antagonist.
Exactly.
Like, you kind of see, like, you almost feel sorry for, like, Skarsgård's character.
No, exactly.
Because he's just kind of a mess. He's, like, consumed by this, like, revenge. Like, it's fucking depressing.
Yeah, they're all just messed up, there's not a single character in the film who isn't messed up.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess Anya Taylor-Joy I feel a bit sorry for. Then she starts screaming and doing witchcraft or whatever. It's like, oh, okie dokie. But no, genuinely, I think the film is a masterpiece. I think it's an absolute masterpiece. It is my Dune. And I am passionate about like the technicalities of this film. Everything Everywhere is a film for me. It's on a whole different plane. This is my Dune. This is not my favourite film of the year, but you know what?
It's up there.
It's up there.
It might be like your second or third.
If something manages to beat one of those two, in that if that isn't two as my top two of the year, then this has been the greatest year for cinema.
I reckon it'll be Babylon. For you. I reckon Babylon. That'll be yours.
Okay, true. I mean, to be fair, Babylon is kind of also made for me. But
yeah,
you know what? We'll see. Also, there is a new James Gray film. It's a good year for cinema.
It's a great year for cinema.
It is a good year for cinema.
Okay, how do I transition?
Go on.
Let's see.
Dicks, Vikings, murder.
Okay, The Northman is a violent film.
Yeah.
Violence, action, Michael Bay, ambulance, boom, baby!
Could you said like... no, actually, to be fair, no, that was a better transition than what I'm trying to think of.
What were you going to say?
I'm trying to think of something to do with like... Well, the Viking guy put a lot of people in
an ambulance. That's awful. Okay.
They really could have used in Viking times? An ambulance. Speaking of ambulances,
Michael Bay's ambulance.
Can't believe Michael Bay had to come back just to slap everyone's ass and tell those bloody Marvel people how to make a film.
Okay. So, Ambulance was one of those films where I was looking forward to it. I like Michael Bay. I don't want to be like, oh, Michael Bay, he makes the Transformers, he's so shit. Like,
genuinely, I think it says a lot about the modern film climate that we now consider Michael Bay to be one of the pioneers of action cinema.
No, don't
get me wrong. He nails it.
But he always was that.
Yeah, he's good. He is really good. I just think it says a lot.
It does, but at the same time, I think he always was.
No, he does.
Because he's been doing this all his career.
The Rock smacks.
The Rock, Bad Boys 2 is one of the most vile things I've ever seen. But at the same time, it's so fucking insane that the action is great.
Yeah.
The Transformers have amazing action in them.
Yeah.
13 hours is insane.
Yeah.
I
love 6 Underground.
I
genuinely do as well.
I like the first 40 minutes and like the rest. But
no. When I say I like 6 Underground, I mean I love the first 40 minutes.
It peaks and then it kind of just gets into
the rest is what makes me not rate it 5 stars.
The rest of it becomes a Netflix action film.
But those first 40 minutes.
But the first 40 minutes are insane. But Ambulance is interesting because to me, Ambulance feels more like Michael Bay doing like a Tony Scott or like a Michael Mann.
It
feels like more like him doing that kind of stuff than a Michael Bay film. Still has his Michael Bayisms in there. Like, there's weirdly meta references to The Rock in which I was like, when that happened, I was like fucking like soy facing. Like I was like, oh my god, I fucking love him. I can't believe he's just like, imagine if Scorsese made like Goodfellas references in his films.
That'd be so sick.
Oh fucking like
He's
he has
so cool.
he has the balls to do that. But
He's
like
so cool.
it's one of those films that toes the line of like being a Michael Bay film and then a genuinely really excellent action film like a Tony Scott, Michael Mann film. It toes that line perfectly because you got the standard like, hey, the whole thing's basically an action scene. Once they're in the ambulance, it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Like, but it doesn't get boring. Which is insane given the fact that it's like 2 hours 10. Yeah. It's a really long film. My only issue with it really was the humour. Because there's some forced quips in there that don't need to be there.
Yeah. It's still a modern action film, I think, at the end of the day. And not necessarily, I mean, like, obviously modern action films are, like, there are really good ones, but I think there's now, particularly in blockbusters, I think there's definitely a formula that even stuff outside of the box still sometimes feel like they're being pulled in slightly.
It does, because I feel like with Michael Bay, like with Ambulance, it still has this kind of like blockbuster. It kind of feels like an old blockbuster, like too far. Yes. It kind of feels like more like a film, like, because I haven't seen it yet, but because I've been going through all of Tony Scott's like films for Maverick. It kind of feels like that other film he done, like his last film, Unstoppable. Yeah. Where it's like this idea of like this kind of this pure action film about a really simple concept that like typically now you don't see those kind of films anymore.
No, everything's
you just
like
don't like
cinematic universe.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like this is a really simple action film that is actually like even the chemistry between like Jake Gyllenhaal and the I forget the other guy's name, but he's a really good actor. But I think that the chemistry between them is like genuinely like really well done. Yeah. And Jake Gyllenhaal does a really good job in the role because he's a fucking coked up maniac in that film. But then he also has some really interesting like character beats. Yeah. And it's like
they're both brilliant.
Like and I think as well like, the way it sets up these characters, they're all very simple. Yeah. There's no like they're not terribly complicated. But that's what I like about the film. It doesn't overcomplicate itself. Yes. It doesn't try and go for something. It goes for a very simple story with a very simple thing, and then Michael Bay just uses that as a way to just do the Michael Bayisms. Like the drone shots in that film, they're fucking insane. Like I've never like drone shots. They've been pretty poorly utilised in film. I think. Yeah. They're mostly just used for establishing shots. Yeah. They're not really all that interesting. They're great for like indie people who want like more interesting shots, but Michael Bay, I've never seen someone use it so well. The way he fucking like the way just you'll go to a random shot and it's just like drone cameras fucking losing it, like going out of control, like spinning everywhere. It's great. I don't know why it's there, but it's great. The film opens up with 2 logos of the same company. There's a Universal logo, and then there's a Universal logo again. I don't know.
On a different place.
I don't know why, but it's great.
Yeah.
And it's like he's such again like you know. Like Gaspar now. Why I'm mentioning Michael Bay and Gaspar now in the same sentence. But you know when you're watching a Michael Bay film.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, Michael Bay... See, the Transformers stuff I like. But I like when Michael Bay just sticks to simple stuff. Yeah. Pain and Gain. 13 hours.
I love Pain and Gain.
That like, when he just sticks to these simple films where he just gets to just do what he does best.
There's a certain bombastic nature.
Yeah.
That is almost not seen in cinema nowadays.
Yeah.
Which
exactly.
is, I think, why and again, it's weird. We're getting to a point where I think Michael Bay is a breath of fresh air.
Like, in a way, he's kind of like the Tom Cruise of behind the camera.
Yes.
When you think about the work that he puts in his films to, like, all the explosions and the cars getting flipped and all that.
Almost the bombastic nature is why he's such a meme. But I think why it works because it is very refreshing. And it's the same thing like with Tom Cruise. When you watch a Tom Cruise action film, like I'm so excited to talk about Maverick. Yeah. Like when you watch a Tom Cruise action film, it feels different to the Sonic the Hedgehog 2s, the Doctor Strange and the whatevers of whatevers. You know, it's cool to see. And I think Michael Bay is that, but for I agree he is that behind the scene. When you watch a Michael Bay film, it's like, oh, I'm just happy that this is an action film that isn't telling me to watch a bunch of other TV shows for homework.
Like, Michael Bay and Tom Cruise together
They would shatter dimensions.
That would be so fucking. I don't think it could ever work.
Yeah.
Because the two eccentric to work together.
No, I agree.
That would be insane because both of them kind of go for the same thing.
Yeah.
Both of them have incredibly authentic action.
I like the fact that they're two different things because it means we get two films.
Yeah, exactly. We get two. Yeah, we don't get one because like you just like Michael Bay. You know when you're watching a Michael Bay film.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You just do, and that's what I adore about them. And it's
Yeah.
and that's why it's such a shame that it flopped.
Yeah.
Because because it's such a shame.
I can't
really
believe that.
is.
That's so sad.
It flopped like Morbius made more money than Ambulance. That is
Bro.
fucking depressing.
Bro. No, that is really sad.
Cause it's not even like that. Like it wasn't even that expensive Ambulance either.
Yeah,
It's like one of his cheaper ones because there's not as many.
Yeah.
Like of his crazy explosions in it.
So
There's not as
sad.
much CGI or whatever. It's very
So sad.
fucking depressing.
God.
God.
Speaking of depressing, we've I think one film left to talk about. If you can think, I don't know how many more. I can only think of one.
I have a couple that I can speed off, but I can talk about one a lot.
There's one left that I know you really want to talk about.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you the floor.
Okay.
Talk about a certain little film, which I think Slenderman vibes. I guess my very quick thoughts. I liked it.
It's my favourite film of this year.
Yeah.
We're all going to the World Fair.
Yeah,
it's
it's
my
so actively an Aaron film.
yeah. It is my everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
I am fascinated by the internet.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. I love Unfriended, which I'm always like, oh, Unfriended, like turn off the screen. I adore online horror like that. Like I think Unfriended is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like I think there's parts of it I don't like, but as a film, I think it's great. I think it's really interesting.
What do you think of Searching?
Loved it.
Okay.
Loved it. Profile is another one where
Yeah.
it's like a thriller about like a woman who, like, she's like a journalist who's talking to like people in I think Syria,
Yeah.
and that's a same way all films are extreme. Fucking great film as well.
Okay.
Really interesting film.
That's it.
But like yeah, like so, where I'm going to the World Fair is basically about a young like teenage girl who is a YouTuber and takes part. Yeah, like you. I'm surprised you didn't like. Wow, this is me. She's just like me.
Weirdly enough, I've never done a Creepypasta challenge, but I'll figure it out. That's content.
So she takes part in this thing, this challenge, the World's Fair challenge, which is basically you watch this video and what you do, you say like I want to go to the World's Fair, and she takes part in it, and then after that, strange things start to happen to her,
Yeah.
and all these things. So she basically documents it. It's kind of found footage, kind of.
Yeah.
But then there's shots where it's not.
Yeah.
But for the most part it is, because it's mostly like through webcams and like Skype calls and stuff. But as she's kind of documenting her kind of journey and her psychological changes, she ends up kind of talking to this older guy who is kind of manipulating her. Because he seems to be kind of playing to her like delusions and kind of her like what she's kind of going through, while he's kind of being like no, like he's kind of pushing for her to keep keep filming, keep doing that, even though it's clearly affecting her. And so it's one of those films where like it's a film that is not for everyone.
Yes.
It's not everything everywhere all at once. You're not gonna get a 4.5 on Letterboxd. It's like a 3.4 or something, which is quite good, but like it's not as high as what. But it's one of those films that I think is probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, like depiction of like online digital like kind of like isolation that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Because
you got this woman who is making these videos and she desperately kind of wants to be a part of like something, and you got this thing where it's like. Because, I mean, could we seen like a couple of years ago with like Slenderman, the teenage girls who tried to kill like one of their friends because Slenderman like has told them to or something.
Yeah.
And it's this thing where, as we're starting to understand the internet, we're starting to also see some of the problems it can cause. And I feel like no one's really been able to articulate that properly. Unfriended, I think, is really good, but it's not the most realistic film in the world because it's a cyber demon.
Yeah, I mean, you're wrong.
But I think the idea of using online as a space for horror is really strong, and I think because we're all going to World Fair, is a horror film, but I'd argue it's more of it's a drama with horror elements.
Yes. Yeah.
I would argue it's more so that, 'cause it's not necessarily scary, but it uses like creepypastas and that kind of aesthetic of creepypastas.
Yeah.
Like that one shot where you see like the main girl's face, like where it's all like kind of distorted, or when she like wakes up in the middle of the night and she's like smiling. She's got like she's like smiling, which fucking creeped me out when I first saw that. Like, because again, like that like stuff really gets to me. Like that kind of like, you know, I'm not necessarily like a creepypasta buff, but. Imagine calling
just love Slender Man.
Fucking love Jeff the Killer me, you know.
Five Nights at Freddy's Law. He has it down.
I love it. I will happily watch a 3-hour video on Five Nights at Freddy's Law. I don't care. Not the fucking game theory videos, but I will happily watch like. There's a YouTuber I watch called Wendigoon.
Okay.
He does like a lot of like iceberg videos, but he also has done like a 3-hour video on like FNAF. Dying to watch it. I don't even play those games anymore. But like but it's like but this film. It's just really like it's so interesting the way like it kind of I can totally see why people like some people watch it and call it mid and stuff and say it's not great and stuff. But I've never seen an online horror film, and again like that just kind of shows it so well and so authentic and so like interesting. Obviously, as you said, it's a film that feels tailor-made for me.
It is so.
It's like so one went. You know what? Aaron Murray really loves these kind of films, so we're just gonna make this for him. Yeah. Because you know, there's also like, but even just like the idea, like it also feels like an internet horror film by someone who knows what the internet is.
Yes, which is so rare for some reason.
Like midway through it, there's a YouTuber who I used to watch, just shows up in it.
That's mad.
For like in like one of the like you go through like a couple of videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's the one who like you see them like in like wearing like wings.
Yeah.
And stuff. They're like a horror YouTuber who's been around for like years.
Okay.
I remember seeing him and I was like, is that fucking like like whatever the name was? I forget the name of the channel. But
big fan.
I haven't seen him in years. But I recognised him when I saw them. I was like, oh shit, like that's like, and they're not even like that big of a YouTuber. There was like an actual ASMR YouTuber who like is in it in a really like a cool scene.
Yeah.
But like, and you know, but like even just the fact like that's in there. And just kind of the way it's shot, like it's not necessarily shot on like beautiful crisp cameras. It's on like fucking like probably on like I don't know, bought it like a shop. Maybe on like an I imagine maybe it was shot on like proper. I don't know, but it doesn't look like it. It kind of looks like it's on like a lot of like iPhone.
Yeah.
Like stuff like it's like sort of like the opening credits when it's like the shots of like some of the like abandoned buildings and stuff, and it's like. It looks like it was filmed like an iPhone or something.
Yeah. It's
got this lo-fi aesthetic that I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
Where it's like, but also just like just the way it depicts like sort of mental illness. Again, the online space where it's you know, like Take a Bite and ARGs. I think is really cool. I love ARGs. I think they're great. Like fucking some of the like Cloverfield is like one of my favorite films, largely because of the ARG. Yeah. Like the fact of like that film is a film, but it's also a piece of like a larger puzzle.
Yeah.
Where it's like you can still look at it like as its own thing.
Yeah.
But then there's like little things you'll find that like really go down this rabbit hole of it is like a part of this wider thing. They fucked it up, but it is what it is. but I love that, and I think but there is a danger to it because if it's based on like a horror thing, not based on like an established property, there is that fear of people. Because the whole point of an ARG is you believe this game.
Yes.
You view it like it's real. It's like the No Sleep subreddit. It's basically just a bunch of horror stories, but the idea is you go on that and you assume it's real. You play along with it. You comment as if what you are reading, even though it is just a story by a guy or a girl or whatever, like it's a real thing.
Okay.
And that's the thing. And a lot of people can play along with it and still maintain that illusion, but not many people can. And that's where a lot of the fear is. It's a really like it's an interestingly topical film, especially with the recent like shooting as well. That happens in Buffalo, which. You know, the guy like who done that is reportedly like very online. Like I know like Discords and stuff. I believe was getting investigated for it because this person was very online and it kind of shows the dangers of it.
Yes.
But at the same time, it doesn't necessarily it's not going like oh the internet's bad. Like it doesn't do that. It's kind of just showing like a very real depiction of what being terminally online, I guess like for lack of a better term, looks like.
Yeah.
Which is that like kind of you can't like change like you can't see reality like and that's kind of and I just think it's a really interesting take on it. It's a film that I've watched it a couple of weeks ago. I still can't stop thinking about it.
That's mad.
It's just incredible.
I think that's the sign of a good film.
Yeah, 100% it is. Like Vortex is another one. I can't stop thinking.
Exactly.
Like all of the films that are in like my top 10, I have not stopped thinking about them.
Yeah.
Like all of them.
Yeah.
It's just all of them are amazing.
No, that's sick. It's been a very good year.
It's been insane. And
Yeah.
there's still like really, I mean, I know it's divisive, but Men
Yeah.
is coming out soon.
Yeah.
Can't fucking wait for that.
Well, like Men's coming out.
Nope.
Nope.
Cannot wait for that.
Babylon. Can't wait for Babylon.
I'm not watching Amsterdam, the David O. Russell film.
No, that's fair.
I'm not watching that.
Thor 4.
Yeah.
Get hyped for Thor 4. She-Hulk.
Bullet Train.
Hyped for She-Hulk. Yeah, Bullet Train.
Bullet Train genuinely looks really fun.
Yeah, Bullet
I
Train
am
does look
really
fun.
looking forward to
Top
that.
Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
There's a lot of exciting stuff. I think it's Cannes right now, isn't it? So
Which?
Cannes.
Yeah, it played at Cannes.
No, I'm saying Cannes.
Oh yeah. Cannes not right now,
now.
but there's some stuff coming out of that.
Yeah.
David Lynch was meant to have a film there. I guess not. David Cronenberg has one now,
That's
which I don't know
Crimes
when
of the
that's coming
Future.
out. Apparently, it's out in America like next week.
What?
Week after. I think it's out like in like the 3rd of June or something.
What the hell?
Don't know when the fuck we're getting it.
Probably never.
I fucking bet you we're gonna get it while I'm in America.
Probably.
It's gonna be the in between where
Yeah.
I can't see it in America because it's not out like wide enough. But then it'll come out here, and by the time I'm home, it's gonna be gone.
Yeah. No,
And
absolutely.
that is exactly what's gonna happen. Fuck's sake.
But
my
yeah,
life.
is there any like quick films you want to talk about really quickly to wrap us up?
Let me see really quick because I feel like I've talked about most of them. Oh, Kimmy.
Yeah, Kimmy.
Kimmy was really fun. I like Steve.
fun.
Steven Soderbergh's quietly making like these interesting like straight to streaming like bangers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any like love for Kimmy. I thought it was good. I
Yeah.
don't really like. I'm not talking to anyone. You know, what I mean, I'm not gonna say like, did you see Kimmy?
Yeah. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's the best thing ever. But I watched it and I was like, that was really fun. I
Yeah, it
really
was
enjoyed that. Ali and Ava,
Yeah.
which was really good. That's like a British film about this couple who kind of like find like a love for each other like through music. It's from Cleo Bernard.
Okay.
Who's on The Selfish Giant
Okay.
and a couple of other things. So she's in that new thing on Apple TV with Tom Hiddleston, The Essex Serpent.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good. Not great, but that was good. The Alpha,
Yeah.
which was the Mark Rylance thing.
Yes.
I like films that are just in one location and it's a bunch of people talking to each other.
And a bunch of people talking to each other.
Yes, that's exactly
Did you
what
like
it was.
Aaron?
I thought it was good. A bit silly. A bit silly.
Yeah.
It gets really stupid at the end.
Okay.
But
I love stupid.
it's fun.
I'm
It is
stupid.
fun.
So
yeah.
it would probably fits.
Yeah.
But okay. Alright. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to our thoughts on 2022 so far.
It's a good year.
It is a really good year.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about them again at the end of the year.
Probably.
About the films of the second half and how these ones compare.
Imagine if the second half is just fucking dreadful.
Imagine it's just really mid.
It's just mid-central.
Not a single good film comes out.
Christ.
Please, Scorsese, please save us.
Save us. Is that coming out this year? Or was that next year?
Yes. I think it's the end of this year. Watch this be.
Oh.
Thing is, no, the rate everything's going at, we're probably going to get to the end of this year and be like, well, at least next year's going to
there's
have all of the films that are going to come out this year.
There's still stuff getting delayed.
Yeah,
the thing.
there
There's
is.
still like
tons of stuff.
Oh yeah.
When's Venom 3 coming out?
When's Morbius 2 coming out?
That's okay, to be fair. There's a new George Miller film.
The George
Isn't that like coming out soon?
It's coming out in America, I think, end of August.
Oh my god. But anyway, goodbye.
Bye bye.